Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to, well, Might and Magic Duel of Champions! I am your host, Dom the Expert of Calls from VideoGamesUncovered.com, and today I'm going to give you a preview of this free-to-play TCG that's now available, or should I really say CCG, that is now available on Steam. It's a free-to-play, it's really good, I played it a little bit, but I thought I would show you some of the kick-ass stuff that you can do in this game. So as you can imagine, it's a card game based around, well, Might and Magic. Simple enough really. And as you can see here, we have, if I go back ever so quickly, we have 4 different options when it comes to actually playing the game. We have duels. Duels would just allow you to go against random people online with your own decks and just go nuts on people. Tournaments are actual tournaments that you play in that you could potentially win awesome stuff out of. Practice, where you can literally just practice new decks and practice cards and practice basically how effective your deck is, and you have an entirely fully fleshed out single player campaign, which I think is actually pretty darn awesome. So what I'm going to do here is I am going to go to here, the Orc Invasion, and I'm going to show you the game and walk through how it feels, how it plays, and basically how it is, and whether it's worth it or not. So we're going to go to a dangerously fragile border, Vradek's Crossing. The company of the Wind Swords have been hired by the Wolf Duchy to assist the forces of Siegfried Brightblade, Field Marshal of the Holy Empire. Their paymaster sends them to defend the Duchy's border. Let's begin, and let's get in on this. So as you can see what your opponent's like. So in this case we're against the Orc Smasher. The Orcs pillaging Vradek's Crossing are disorganized. They pose no real threat as long as we hold position. Understood, soldiers? Simple as that. You can choose our decks if we have multiple ones. I'm just rolling with the Necropolis deck. I like Necropolis. And we're going to start dueling and get this stuff underway. So at the start of playing the game, you can mulligan. And mulligan is the simple act of, do you want to keep your starting hand? And you can get rid of cards that, well, basically you can decide whether you want to keep this hand or not. So you just got to keep in mind the cost. You got to keep in mind what alternate costs it also has. So in this case it has might. So I need to have 2 mana to play it, but then also 2 might to be able to play it as well. Something to keep in mind. Damage that your card does, so in this case it does 2 damage. It's counter value, and basically what that means is when it gets attacked, this is the value that goes into play when this unit gets attacked and it has the chance to attack back, because it doesn't take into effect the attack value, it takes into effect the counter value. And then it's HP, so Rogue Mercenary has 4. But you can also see the different card types that there are as well. So let me see, we have Rogue Mercenary, Lamassu, 2 Plague Zombies, a Lesser Air Elemental, and a Putrid Lamassu. Pretty darn good hand, I'm going to roll with it. So this is basically the game, and let's see how this turns out. So, you start off the game, and that's your available resources, or mana. I like to call it mana. And here's your hero. Now, at the beginning of all your turns, you can make a choice with your hero. You can either draw a card, or you can increase one of your 3 values: Might, Magic, and Destiny. And now you need to manage these values because your cards are going to have different values. So as you can see, Rogue Mercenary has a Might value of 2, whilst Putrid Lamassu has a Might value of 5. So a good thing that I would have to do with my hero at the beginning of each turn, for at least up to the 5th turn, is to just increase my Might. So if you do that, my Might is now 2, so I can play cards that have a 2 Might cost. However, I don't have a turn 1 play because Rogue Mercenary is 2. So I might as well explain what the field basically is. So you have all the squares with the diamonds inside of them are where you can play your monsters, back row and front row. Basically, these monsters are the guys that are going to stop your opponent from hitting you directly, and these are the things that you're going to be using to attack your opponent directly. If there are creatures on the same lane, they have to kill one another before they can go for the enemy hero. And in between these two fields are the squares with circles in them, as well as the ones above the rows as well. And these are field slots. Basically, these field slots allow you to play cards that will benefit or de-benefit the field. So effectively, I know there's a card that I have in this deck, I think, which freezes an entire field for like 1 or 2 turns. So if you put it on the top row, that entire top row can't do anything for 2 turns. So effectively, things like that can happen. You can play them on your rows or on specific enemy row to deal with particular threats. It's really interesting. And then you have the obvious things like your deck and your graveyard and all that good stuff. Now, before I actually go into ending my turn and playing the game, I'm also going to share with you the event decks down here. There are 2 different events that will always be in play: your events and your opponent's events. These events can be played at any time by either player, and you can play both event cards if you so wish. But event cards normally come with bonuses and debuffs, effectively. So, for example, there's this one. If you haven't played a card this turn, draw a card. If you do, you cannot play a card this turn. So effectively, I can do this, and it's 0 cost. Then there's another event here, which says increase the attack of the next creature you deploy this turn by 1, which is a 4 cost. Effectively, you're not going to be messing about with these events early on. These are really, really good later on, when you're mostly just pushing out creatures and spells and you just want to get rid of your opponent as fast as you can. So I'm going to use this one, because I can't play a card this turn anyway. But now look, I have a Plague Skeleton, which can come in very handy. So I'm going to end my turn. I'm going to see what the Orc does. Orc increases its magic, plagues a rogue mercenary, and kind of like how it also works in Duels of the Planeswalkers for the Magic the Gathering sides of things, in Might and Magic they still suffer from summoning sickness unless they have an ability that allows them to attack on the turn that is played. So you don't have to worry about that. So what do we have here? We have Refreshing Spring, enchant creature into end of turn, enchant creature gets +1. Not too bad. But now there's a problem. We have a mercenary on the field that can attack us straight up. I'm going to increase my might a little bit more. And let's see, I can either play a rogue mercenary of my own, or put down a Plague Skeleton. And Plague Skeleton has this. It's immune to retaliation, so your retaliation cost is the diamond shaped number, which is your counter value, as I like to call it. Infect 1, when this creature deals attack damage to a creature, that creature gets a 1 poison counter and deal 1 damage per counter to creature with poison counters at the beginning of their controller's supply phase. Oh yeah, baby. So this is actually not a bad play at all. I can play, you know what, I'm just going to play a rogue mercenary of my own. So now he has to merc with my merc. The other interesting thing that you can also do in this game, you can change the position of where these cards are if you have space next to them. So effectively, if I wanted to, I could move Rogue Mercenary to any of these slots because those slots have not been filled, which is actually really, really cool. So let's see what we've got here. We have Mass Grave. Take a card from your hand and put it face down on the bottom of your library and destroy target creature with a cost of 2 or less. Oh, I like it. Oh, I do also have Plague Zombie, which is one of my favourite cards. I am going to play Plague Skeleton behind our mercenary. You also notice that our mercenary does cost 1 to attack, hence why I've kept 1 resource. I'm going to build up my might, and I'm going to attack with the mercenary against his mercenary, because why not? See what he does here. Gets rid of my mercenary, so my mercenary is now dead. And he's playing a lot of creatures this turn. And fighting a lot of my dudes, which is not very good. What do we got here? No Rest for the Wicked. If an opponent has more cards in their hand than you, after playing No Rest for the Wicked, take target creature card from the graveyard and put it into your hand. Not bad, but it's not really going to help me this turn. Gonna do that, increase my might a little bit more. Now I do have access to the lesser air elementals now, which are actually going to be really good. So I'm going to put a lesser air elemental down here, and I'm going to attack this harpy in the back with my skeleton to give it a poison counter. So now it effectively did 2 damage, which is very, very nice. Great thing about the air elementals as well is that they have retaliation damage, so they can fight back. Now I am going to take some quite serious damage this turn, which will hurt me a little bit, but I'm not too worried. See, I have 5. Now I'm actually going to build up my magic, because I know I have spells in here that will be very useful later. Let me see, I could effectively put down Putrid Lamassu, and Putrid Lamassu would not be a bad idea at all. I'm going to put Putrid right here. And this air elemental is going to go smacky smack this harpy. And go in my turn. I would just like to note I'm not the best at this card game. It's a little bit strange. And this is bearing in mind that if you watch the Friday Night Magic series, I'm more of a Magic the Gathering and Yu-Gi-Oh player. And when it comes to card games like this, I feel quite out of my depth, if you know what I mean. But I thought I would at least share this with you guys anyway, so that if any of you were interested in this style of CCG, it does exist. We now have a Wretched Ghoul. Nice art, by the way. I do really like the artwork. Let me see. We're going to Wretched Ghoul, I think. Yeah, why not? Wretched Ghoul down here. And then we're going to normal Lamassu up here. And now I can use Refreshing Spring or Mass Grave if I so wished. Mass Grave will not be handy right now, but Reflecting Spring will not be handy either. Interesting, interesting, interesting. But let's get rid of this guy, because I don't like him. And then Lamassu can go and attack this guy, because I don't like him either. And I have a good amount of resources left. I'm going to build up my magic one more time, because I still know there are spells. You know what, I'm going to use Mass Grave. Let's put back... Well, it puts it face down on the top of my library, so it's something I can play next turn. Let's put Refreshing Spring in there. And target... you. No, I can't target you. Immune to retaliation. Target you then. Get you out of my face. So now I do have board control, which is good for now, but I am on 12 health, which is bad. Good work. Good work. A lot of damage being thrown around there. Ah, poison! Curses. Every time with a poison. What do we got here? Week of the Mercenaries. Until the end of turn, play with the top card of your library revealed. As long as the top card of your library is a creature card, all friendly creatures gain +1 damage. Otherwise, all enemy creatures gain +1 retaliation. Ouch! That can be a bit of a double-edged sword. Okay. Let me see. Death Steal. That will destroy it on next combat. That's actually not too bad. So I can actually get rid of that guy if I so wished it. You know what? That's actually not a bad idea. Let's put that on you. Let's put the air elemental back here. And let's go wild. Strike you, so you're instantly dead. Strike at you with Lamassu. And strike at you with my ghoul. So my ghoul will instantly die, but I still have my air elemental out, so it's not the end of the world. Oh no. No, I don't want to use my hero. I'm fine with all the values that I have. The Pow Hunter. There's a Goblin Scout. It's going in for the attack there. Attacking with the Wild Griff. Jaguar Warrior. See, Jaguar Warrior has quick attack, which is effectively haste in Magic the Gathering terms. Okay. Let's have a think here. Ooh. I have a Skeleton Spearman, immune to retaliation. Very nice. I'm going to put you behind Lamasu here, so that we have quite a nice wall. Then I'm going to put Plague Zombie here. Plague Zombie here. I'm then going to call for No Rest for the Wicked. And bring back a Lesser Air Elemental for later on. So effectively that's been quite a nice turn of events. And attack you to get rid of you. Attack you to get rid of you. Attack you to get rid of you. And we have board advantage yet again, but we still can't hurt him. Ooh, Stone Skin on that guy. That's gonna do a bit. Ooh, heck, he got poison damage. What does this guy have? Goblin Scout with Venomous Touch, so it's gonna do infection damage. And Stone Skin. Combat damage dealt to target creature is halved, rounded down. Ooh, eck. So effectively I'm only going to do 1 damage, but wait a minute, 1 damage will kill him. So that's absolutely fine. Yes. Right, I'm just going to go all out this turn. Give this to you. Let's put down an air elemental for the shiggles. And let's go all out. So swing, swing, swing. Victory! Lovely. So after you win a game, whether it be in the campaign or whether it be online or whatevs, you're going to see all your standings and all your stuff. So the duration of the duel, the skill rating, health remaining, highest damage, spells, creatures, fortunes, and turns taken to basically win the game. It's very nice. And then after you beat missions on the single player campaign, you get an assortment of gold! And also seals as well. All these different currency types you can use to buy stuff. Which I will show you here in the shop. So in the shop, you basically spend your gold, you spend your seals, and you spend your tournament tickets to basically get in on stuff. Tournament tickets are obviously what they are. They're used to get you into tournaments. Simple as. And it doesn't look like the shop is working today, which is pretty bad. Well, nothing seems to be working all of a sudden. Pretty bad. This does happen from time to time, I've noticed, and it's really the only big flaw. Or either that or it was lagging quite a bit. So effectively, ladies and gents, that is my Magic Duel of Champions. It's a nice little CCG. It's not to everyone's taste. If you are a person who plays Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon, or any of those other TCGs out there, it's worth giving it a try to see whether it does tickle your fancy. If it doesn't tickle your fancy, I don't blame you. It is a very different style of card game. It gets a little bit awkward early on. By all means, if you keep playing it on a very regular basis, which I haven't been, then you will become better at the game, and you will generally have more fun, which is great. Heck, if you want to enter tournaments and win big, go for it. Just go nuts. But there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That is Magic the Gathering Duel of the Champions. Please let me know what you guys think of the game in the comments section below. And I will see you guys next time when I preview something else. So until next time, guys, I am Don the Expert of Calls from VideoGamesUncovered.com. Until next time, I'll be seeing you on the other side.